Hello. So I want to help people get a couple tips on getting into Commander and learning how to build on a budget. As of recently, I've actually lost the place I was living in. I'm currently somewhere temporary for the time being. And due to my current financial struggles and my history of building budget decks, it's just fun. It's just how I like to build my decks. I wanted to give people who maybe are in also themselves some sort of bad financial situation or dealing with just they just don't want to put a lot of money into their hobby or even can't. I want to help people out like that. So I'm going to give you a couple of my tips for helping you build decks on a budget. Editor Salty just talking quick. I also just wanted to add that these might not be the best tips. This is just a video I want to make on a whim. One more thing I also want to add is this isn't a specific guide on building a commander deck in general. This is just you already have an idea of what you want to do and you want to be able to build it on a budget. I'm not telling you how to build a deck. I'm helping you build on a budget. This one might seem a little counterintuitive, but it is the cheapest way to start playing Magic and have a playable deck. And it's how I got into Magic was buy a cheap precon. There's a lot of precons out there that are like $30, $40. You don't even need to buy a deck box. You can just get some like cheap sleeves for like $10. Bam. That's a whole deck, $50. That's a good start. And it might not be glamorous. It might not be what you want to do, but it's a way to get into the game to start off. It's how I got into the game. It's how I got some of my real life friends into the game, and we all play every weekend. We love playing Magic now. For my personal recommendations for finding just a couple easy, low budget precons, I would recommend Family Matters from the Bloomborough set. That precon's fairly cheap. It's a fantastic commander. It's a fun commander, and out of the box, it's fairly playable. For a little sooner than that, like recently, there's been some phenomenal precons. The Lorwyn Eclipse precons, both of them are fairly cheap on Amazon. You can get them for around $40, and they are both really good. And if you have open packs recently, you can put a couple cards in there from those, and it'll work really good. And then most recently, the Secrets of Strixhaven Commanders, those precons are phenomenal. I've found myself buying the Quintorius precon because I've never played in a white-red color pairing, and the deck seemed fun. I bought that deck out of the box, won my first game with it. It was a blast. It was a great, fun match. And after that, I swapped out just a couple cards I ordered, or I'd not ordered, I got from Secrets of Strixhaven packs themselves. The deck played phenomenal just from a couple cards from the set itself. And that's going to get into my second and maybe a little better of a tip that's not just buy a precon and upgrade it, is go through bulk. So say you finally find a commander that you really enjoy, that you buy the commander, you start building a deck online, you're going through Scryfall, you're going through EDHREC, getting all the recommended cards. A lot of decks you're going to want to run removal. And there's a lot of removal or like even recursion cards that are printed in almost every set that maybe cost one more mana than like the $7 card that I don't like. So you want to reanimate, that card's like $7 or even more in a lot of instances and stuff like that if you want specific printings. Say you've even only opened a couple packs, you're going to get a couple cards that are similar and maybe even have another niche side effect or downside to the card that also synergize with your current strategy that you're building. And even then, even if you go to your local game store, they're going to have a lot of bulk from those recent sets that people don't hold on to, which I find is crazy. I love holding onto my bulk cards, not because I want to collect them, but because if I want to build a deck, I can look through and all of a sudden I have an Abrade. This gets rid of an artifact and it does 3 damage, or it could do 3 damage or something. Seize the Spoils. This gets me draw and discard, grabs a treasure token, return the favor. Very similar to a card like Deflecting Swat, where I can change the target of something. Bogwater Lumineth. Soul Warden's a $7 card. This guy's in a different color pairing, but he gains you life every time you do a creature enters. Ancestral Anger is a cantrip. Very just a good card in a lot of decks. You get a cantrip, bam. Duty Beyond Death. This card is a protection spell in white that is phenomenal, and it's super, super cheap. Studious First Year has Rampant Growth attached to it. This card's very cheap and is a common. Zombify has been reprinted so many times it's going to cost a little more mana, but you don't need to buy $7 for a reanimate. If you have an idea in mind and your deck is going to be synergistic. You don't need to spend the extra money to buy that slightly better card. At some point, you're going to find yourself at a point where the amount you're spending on specific cards will not forward your game plan more than it's worth. I don't know how to exactly word it, but I hope you guys are able to know what I mean. Like I said, I'm just trying to make a quick video, giving a couple tips on how I like to budget build my decks. My final tip is going to be, especially for starters, is find a commander that's maybe 1 to 2 colors, fairly simple in their effect on what they want to do, and build around something that is a fairly common effect, at least for people who are starting off. Say, for example, this may be not the best example, this is just a card I had sitting in my bulk pile, is the Dawn Archaic. He's colorless, so maybe it's not the best example because it's a little tricky to build a colorless deck. But what this card wants you to do is it wants you to get instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard and wants you to go to combat and cast stuff from your graveyard. So if you have a commander like that, you're going to want to get stuff that makes it so it's easier to attack or maybe gives you multiple combats. You're going to want cards that draw, discard, or even mill cards. You're going to want cards that just are combat phase oriented and instant and sorcery oriented. So it's a very straightforward game plan you could build around. And if it's less than 3 colors, you could typically build a pretty decent land base without spending $60. Because for some reason, Wizards of the Coast has made it so that the most expensive damn thing is a good mana base for some reason. There has been so many printings of Magic the Gathering that have so much redundancy built into them that it makes it so that you don't have to spend a lot of money just to make a good deck. Just because you're not getting the best card that does this thing doesn't mean you're not going to have a good deck. Maybe if you want to build CEDH or something like that, yeah, go ahead. Buy that, put a little extra money towards that card, or proxy it if you really don't want to do that. But at the end of the day, if you're going to optimize your deck to the point where I'm really worried about not having enough mana to do the specific thing I want, at the same turn I want to do this thing, and this thing, and this thing, like, it's a 4-player game. Games are going to go on for a while, especially in bracket 3 and 2, where you're probably going to end up around the first time you're playing the game. The game's going to go on for a while. You're going to be able to do your things. You play it slow, just enjoy the game. And my final tip here before I let you guys go is going to be, once you get that base that you really like, you build your deck, it's fairly functional, you really like it, but it could be a little better. Don't make a million decks and then never make a deck, build it for nice and cheap, and slowly add upgrades to it over time. For example, my Scorpion God deck. When I built that deck originally, it was $35 completely for the entire thing. $35. Now I've added certain cards to that deck, like Crumbling Ashes, that I got from I don't remember exactly how I got it. I got a Vampire Tutor I won at my local game, or from a friend. It's like, just, you get cards over time. You either buy them or you win them, or people gift them to you, and stuff like that. Like, you don't have to make your deck the most optimized, expensive, explosive thing as soon as you buy it. You can get the budget shell, just that shell that you want, slowly upgrade it over time. That way, you get to play it more, and you just keep enjoying it as you make changes to it. And you really get to get a feel for the deck, especially if you're playing it, Even if it's not going to be winning every game and stuff like that, that's when you slowly start optimizing and building and adding more things to the deck that you enjoy. Anyways, I just want to finish the video off with saying I apologize if it's maybe a little bit all over the place and stuff like that. It's just a random middle of the weekday. It's hot as hell, and I just decided I wanted to make a video talking about this. I'm not even 100% sure why. Maybe I won't even post this. Who knows? But if you guys do like the video, let me know if you want another one. I can get more tips and stuff like that on even deck building itself and how I like to build my decks. I could even try to post some of my Commander nights with my friends over the weekends and stuff like that. So if you guys want to see more, just let me know. I hope you guys all have a great day. I hope if you are someone who is in a struggling financial situation that it gets better for you. At the end of the day, all I want to do is make a positive impact on people's lives. So just do your best to make every day count. Stuff does get better. It does take effort, but stuff does get better. Thank you.